Hello, YouTube. What you just witnessed was some speed casting. Or was it chain casting? I don't actually know the terminology, to be honest, but I will still describe it to you the best I can. I wanted to understand chain casters, speed casters, and I still wanted to put together a hybrid int faith build that worked fairly well. And so this is what kind of was thrown together. I want to give a shout out to Cad Manson on YouTube, who has so many wonderful chain casting videos, and he's far better at it than I am. This is just my first foray into it, but I want to show off some. So if you do Swift Glintstone into carrying Greatsword into Great Glintstone Shard, that can combo. That's pretty neat. You kind of have to prime the spell, though, with the wrong catalyst to get it speedy, it feels like. Using the Pocket Sand into Gurranq Stone into Wrath of Gold, that can also combo people. Feels very nice. At least the end two spells combo into each other. And turns out you can use Catch Flame to speedily cast the Magma Worm Breath. And then you can throw a follow-up Lightning Bolt if you need to clean something up, or you can just do Theodorix's Magma into another Theodorix's Magma, and that is dirty, dirty stuff. And there's something broken about it. It is a little bit of an exploit, I'll tell you that much, especially for how fast it comes out. It's a little guilty. I felt a little guilty making this video, but it's shorter, so not too many people had to suffer for science. My personal science. But the idea is, if you have a combo that you want to pull off, something that works together, a speed combo. So, for example, we'll say Catch Flame, the Magma Breath, into the Lightning Spear, right? So what you need to do is you have to have, of course, your Incantation Catalyst and your Staff in your offhand. The Staff gives casting speed, even if you're not casting sorceries. And then I have the Redigan Icon Talisman on my character as well for even more cast speed. Hit that virtual 70 points of dexterity. And so what you do is you prime the spell that you want to be cast speedily. So for the example I'm talking about, it's Theodorix's Magma. So what you do is you attempt to cast Theodorix's Magma with the wrong catalyst. So for me, that would be the Sorcery Azure Staff catalyst, the staff. And so what you do is you try to cast it, it fails, you shake the staff in front of you, you scratch your head, the whole shebang. And then, from then on, if you do a jump Catch Flame into Theodorix's Magma, it will chain cast, and it won't just chain cast, it'll actually do the wrong animation. It'll do, if you watch carefully, the glintstone pebble animation, but with the speed of the glintstone pebble spell, it'll throw out a Theodorix's Magma, as you saw right there. Comes out really quickly, very surprising, does big damage, puts you on a watch list. That is kind of the whole spiel. And so this is me trying out different casting combinations, trying to get it to work. And sometimes the combos work, sometimes they don't. They are supposed to be, a couple of them are supposed to be true combos, and they're fairly reliable. But you kind of have to land like the first part and do the spacing. So there's a lot of skill still required. Though I will say, of the 3 or 4 different combo sets of spells I was trying out for the sake of this video, I will say that the most damaging and the quickest burst was, of course, the Theodorix's Magma one. Just without a doubt, it felt a little dirty. But I wanted to get it to work, and turns out if you want Int Faith to work, in my opinion, it feels like at a meta level you kind of need to exploit. Look at how fast that Theodorix's Magma comes out, and then I can just chain cast it into itself again if I want, and it vaporized that poor Carrion Knight, that honest Carrion Knight. A little gross, a little disgusting, but I wanted to understand chain casters. When you fight a chain caster, or a speed chain caster, I don't even know what term I'm going to use for that. They're like a wild card continually. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. They could have 9, they could have anywhere between like 8 and 10 spells reliably. And if they juggle all of them, you don't know what you're up against, especially if they're using both sorceries and incantations. It's crazy. And so now that I have played with it a little bit, I feel like I could spot it early enough in my own invasions and in my own PvP forays in order to counteract it. So if you're fighting against somebody with Theodorix's Magma, well, you got to give them space. That's the big thing. You gotta give them space, and you gotta know when you can interrupt that catch flame. But that's dangerous, right? Because immediately after the catch flame comes the Theodorix Magma. It is a high-risk, low-reward maneuver interrupting them, so outspacing them seems to be your grandest approach if you're dealing with somebody using that sort of spell combo or exploit. But it works very well. It was very humorous. One of my issues I had with this particular setup is that I didn't really like my spell combo that I had going. I had two different spell combos I tried out. One was Carrion Slicer into a jump Carrion Slicer, I should say, into Gavel of Haima into Ronnie's Dark Moon. And the problem with the Ronnie's Dark Moon is that I had 58 intelligence and you need 68 for the spell. So I relied on the physic. It was very mana intensive, and the key to making the Ronnie's Dark Moon work in that situation is you gotta point it at the ground. That's the easiest way to get it to detonate quickly. It makes the spell significantly better in my opinion. Though it is fairly easy to get knocked out of it, so it's still like up in the air whether or not it's good. But still, Slicer into Gavel of Haima into Dark Moon. It works. I didn't get any footage of it. I've seen people get it to work, and it's very tasteful. Looks very good. They're very cool and attractive people, and I am not one of those. The other one that I got to work a little more often was the Swift Glintstone into Carrying Greatsword into Great Glintstone Shard, I believe. So the biggest of the pebbles, basically, that you still can't charge it up, but it still comes out fairly quickly. That's the one that I got to work a little better, but it was relatively low damage. If I were to try again, I think I would just go pure Wizard Speedcaster, because there's other things I want to try out, like Adula's into Frostcrag, or whatever the Frosty Glintstone Pebble's called. Apparently, if you hit him point blank with an Adula and you have the casting speed, you can just hit him with a Crag at point blank, and that'll probably get you your tasty Frost proc, you know? And so it feels like that combo kind of and you can alternate between the Crag and the Adulas, it seems. So if I were to do another Speedcaster as a pure Wizard, I would probably stick those two in my first two slots to give that a go. And there's other things you can do, pseudo combos for area control. You can Carrying Slicer into Carrying Greatsword into Carrying Slicer into Carrying Greatsword, you know, kind of a 4-step repeating. And if you want to do anything like that with your casting, it's best that your spells be in the first two slots, because then it's very easy to reset your bar. If you don't know, for some reason, if you hold up on the D-pad or whatever your switch spell button is, holding the switch spell button will automatically make it tick to the first spell in your rotation. So you don't have to cycle through all 9 or 10 of your spells to get back to that set right there. But look at these people. This guy chased me all the way up to the elevator just to get melted. Oh my goodness. I'm sure he was upset at me. I think I fight him one more time in this very video, actually. So he was a little wise to my tricks later on. But tricks, nonetheless, worked out for me in the end. I think this video was a great growing experience for me as somebody trying to learn how to do the casting. I do have another character in the works that is going to be the pure Faith caster who does chain casting. I think that's going to work a little better. The damage was a little suboptimal, and I'll be honest, it felt like speed casting hybrid is for style points. It's not necessarily to be optimal with your damage. It's not going to be meta, but it looks cool, and it's neat, and I had fun doing it. So that's the biggest thing it has going for it. If you like variety, that's the way to do it. I think if I was going to be forced, somebody twisting my arm to make me play a Faith Int build again, it wouldn't be that other video I did with the Sword of Night and Flame. Oh no, it would be probably something like this, though I have yet to find a spell, 3-step spell combo that I really like that doesn't need to be at the front of my set of spells. So we'll see where that takes me in the future. Another neat little thing that this build utilized that I think I did twice across my footage was that in my extra right-hand slot, I have a set of Katars with Lightning Bolt on them, or the Lightning Bolt Ash of War. And turns out, even if you are not a Dex build and you want Lightning Bolt to hit a little harder, you need the Lightning Infusion. Kind of funny that the Infusion makes the Ash of War hit considerably harder, even if you don't have a high Dexterity stat. Kind of neat. You can use it to tag people kind of nice. And of course, because they're the Katars, you could, if somebody's like really close to dead, because you're not getting any scaling with them, it's mostly base damage, you could two-hand the Katars, run at them, and poke them. Am I good at that? No, I think I'm going to need to do a video, or at least a couple play sessions, playing with non-standard weapons, like Katars or whips or something, just to understand how they work a little better, because I am awful. Every time I need to pull out a Katar to finish off somebody, I'm miserable. I don't do the timing correctly. It's just a bad time for me, and that's just because I'm bad at it. But look at this. I'm able to hit him with the lightning bolt after the magma, and then, because I know there's fire in the way, I can hit him with the Katar's lightning bolt, and there we go. You can clean up. So I really like having a little lightning bolt stick on my weapon. When you're playing a dex build, of course, your lightning bolts hit so much harder. They are ridiculously strong. You can really clean up kills even when people have a good chunk of health left. And then if you're playing a strength build and you're willing to put, like, I think 20 points of intelligence into your strength build, you could use the Falling Star Beast Jaw as your light thunderbolt stick, essentially, because its Ash of War is almost identical. It just would scale with your strength and magic stat. So that's also a great pick that you could have on your character. I like having cleanup moves. I wish I was better at swapping to them. I need to practice my swaps more. But being able to finish off somebody who's nearly dead is fantastic and very, very important to your kill time. It's so very important to your kill time, because in an invasion setting where a guy probably has one or two friends with him, if he can escape, he gets to heal, and that can prolong the fight, and that can make things significantly more difficult for you, because you're not just doing a 3v1 in some instances, you're fighting those people and all, I don't know what it would be, 28 of their flasks divvied between health and mana. That's a lot of resources you gotta deal with, and if they're using them disgusting starlight shards, like myself, then it gets even worse. So learning how to clean up your kills is imperative to your success as a invader PvPer. You kind of put things in a controlled environment when you're doing duels in the arena specifically, because there's no heals except for spells, and spells are a little easier to punish, and people aren't going to be, well, you know, holding on to anywhere between 7 and 10 flasks of healing as a host. So I would say, all in all, a setup like this worked very well in duels, in one-on-one situations where you can control the environment, have good spacing, and capitalize on the hubris of your foes. When there's lots of enemies bearing down on you, you just don't really have the time to get much of this done. Your best bet in those cases is probably to quickly swap to Wrath of Gold and try to spook them off of you with something like that. And I was bad at switching to Wrath of Gold, but Wrath of Gold is a wonderful ability, and if you're doing the Rock Sling into Gurranq Stone into Wrath of Gold combo, if that's at the front of your set of abilities, you'll have much easier access to Wrath of Gold, and I felt like I should have used it more. Wrath of Gold is very good. In fact, I kind of want to use Rejection as well, the one that just pushes people. That sounds like a grand old time, and I haven't done that. It's very reminiscent in my mind of Dark Souls 3, because I felt like every build who had enough points to cast Tears of Denial on themselves, which was a spell that prevented lethal damage one time, I felt like everybody who had that also had Rejection should they really want it. And that was a neat little thing to have. And it's even better in Elden Ring. A few points of faith can go a long way in giving you tons of utility spells. Or incantations. You can get damage resistances, you can get little buffs, you can get catch flame, you can get the, oh, what's it called? The pocket sand, you know what I'm talking about, the gravel shotgun ability, whatever it's called. But still, you get so many little things for just a minimal investment of faith. I think that's pretty cool. I will say this though, this video has been fairly sinful and super self-indulgent. I still think that Theodorix's Magma is a little bit of a dirty tactic, and it was very much a crutch for this particular setup. But oh, the damage, the melting of people that it allowed you to do was very silly. But I'm excited for the Pure Faith version of the caster I've set up. I won't be using the Magma Worm nearly as often. I might have it on the kit, I might not, I don't know. I'll decide when I get there. But I think I'm going to focus more on chaining certain lightning spells together, and that's going to be neat and moderately more honest, question mark. Probably none of this is honest, and it's technically a variety of move swap, and so it's probably just considered dirty and unethical through and through. But hey, all casters and wizards are unethical. See that? That was delicious. Magma worm into lightning spear. Oh man. Anyways, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. You better check in with me. I'll get worried if you don't.